Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel History of the Ancient World. Today we're journeying back in time over 6,000 years to the sun-drenched plains of Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This is where one of humanity's first and most brilliant civilizations was born, Sumer. Forget what you think you know about ancient life. The Sumerians weren't just primitive farmers. They were innovators, city builders, and thinkers who laid the groundwork for the world we live in today. They gave us the wheel, writing, and even the 60-second minute. So how did they live? What were their cities like? What did they eat, believe, and dream about? Join us as we uncover the secrets of daily life in ancient Sumer. Imagine a landscape of fertile soil, crisscrossed by canals shimmering under a relentless sun. This was the heart of Sumer. Life here revolved around agriculture. Thanks to their ingenious irrigation systems, the Sumerians turned arid land into a breadbasket, growing barley, wheat, dates, and vegetables. This agricultural surplus was the engine of their civilization. It meant not everyone had to be a farmer. People could specialize. You could be a potter, a weaver, a metal worker, or a scribe. This division of labor was revolutionary, and it all happened within the walls of their incredible cities. Let's talk about those cities. Uruk, Ur, Eridu. These weren't just settlements, they were bustling metropolises, home to tens of thousands of people. At the center of each city stood the ziggurat, a massive, stepped pyramid-like temple dedicated to the city's patron god or goddess. This wasn't just a place of worship, it was the administrative and economic heart of the city. Priests, who were powerful figures, would oversee the collection and redistribution of grain, manage land, and run workshops. The ziggurat loomed over a maze of narrow, winding streets packed with mud brick houses. Most homes were simple, 1- or 2-story structures built around a central courtyard to provide shade and a private space for family life. Imagine the sounds, the bleating of sheep being led to market, the clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the chatter of merchants haggling over prices, and the sing-song voices of children playing in the alleyways. What was a typical Sumerian family like? Society was patriarchal, meaning the father was the head of the household. Marriages were often arranged, sealed with a contract inscribed on a clay tablet. Women, while subordinate to men, had more rights than you might expect. They could own property, run businesses, and even act as priestesses. Children were expected to help with household chores and learn the family trade. For a select few, usually boys from wealthy families, there was the opportunity for formal education. They would attend an eduba, or tablet house, to become scribes. This was a tough school. Students spent years learning cuneiform, the world's first writing system, by pressing wedge-shaped marks into wet clay with a reed stylus. They'd copy lists of words, proverbs, and epic tales. The curriculum was demanding, and discipline was strict, but graduating as a scribe was a ticket to a high-status career in the temple or palace bureaucracy. Now let's get to the fun stuff: food, drink, and entertainment. The Sumerian diet was based on barley. They made bread, of course, but more importantly, they made beer. Beer was a staple of their diet, consumed by everyone from kings to commoners. It was thick, nutritious, and safer to drink than the river water. They also enjoyed fish from the rivers, dates, and a variety of vegetables. Feasts were a big part of social and religious life. Imagine a banquet in a wealthy home, tables laden with roasted mutton, bread, fruit, and endless jugs of beer, all enjoyed to the sound of music from lyres, harps, and drums. Sumerians also loved games. Archaeologists have found board games like the royal game of Ur, complete with dice and playing pieces. It was a race game, a bit like backgammon, enjoyed by people from all walks of life. But life wasn't all work and games. The Sumerians had a complex and often intimidating view of the cosmos. They believed the world was controlled by a pantheon of powerful, unpredictable gods and goddesses who represented natural forces like the sun, wind, and water. Enlil, the god of the air, was the chief deity, while Inanna, the goddess of love and war, was one of the most revered. The Sumerians believed their purpose was to serve the gods and keep them happy. If the gods were pleased, the harvest would be bountiful and the city would be safe. If they were angry, they might send floods, famine, or disease. This is why the priests and temples were so important. They acted as intermediaries between humanity and the divine. Religion permeated every aspect of Sumerian life, from the grand ceremonies at the ziggurat to the small clay figurines kept in homes for protection against evil spirits. Their view of the afterlife was rather gloomy. They called it the land of no return, a shadowy underworld where the dead existed as dim spirits, eating dust and drinking brackish water. There was no judgment, no heaven or hell, just a dreary, eternal existence. Perhaps this bleak outlook on death is what made them so focused on living life to the fullest here on earth, and on leaving a lasting legacy. And what a legacy it was! Their innovations in writing, law, mathematics, and astronomy were passed down to subsequent civilizations like the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians, and eventually influenced the Greeks and Romans. The Sumerian system of counting in base 60 is the reason we still have 60 seconds in a minute and 360 degrees in a circle. Their epic poems, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, which tells the story of a king searching for immortality, are some of the oldest works of literature in the world. They wrestled with the same fundamental questions we do today. What is the meaning of life? What is our place in the universe? From the grand ziggurats reaching for the heavens to the humble clay tablets that recorded a merchant's transaction, the world of the Sumerians was a place of incredible contrast and dynamism. They were pioneers in every sense of the word, building the first cities, writing the first laws, and telling the first epic stories. They transformed the world, and their influence echoes down to our own time. So the next time you check the time on your watch or write a shopping list, spare a thought for the ancient Sumerians. Their ingenuity and spirit of innovation set humanity on a course that we are still following today, thousands of years later. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back to ancient Sumer. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the past, please hit that like button, subscribe to History of the Ancient World, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring history.